I think one of the most difficult things in the world of photography and filmmaking is figuring out kind of what exactly you need and what exactly you can use. And then it becomes this balancing act between kind of two different factors, one of which is the practicality aspect of that piece of equipment, like how will it improve my workflow, will it give me, better image quality, etc., in that sort of area. And then I think the second kind of factor in deciding this balancing act is also your budgetary restraints, kind of how much can you put into this and what is the best that you could afford essentially with that. So with those two kind of factors in mind, I was playing this balancing act the other day in terms of figuring out, should I stay with the cheap Feelworld F6 Plus field monitor as well as with the expensive CFast Express card that's 512 gigabytes from Angelbird, or should I go the other way and get the more expensive Ninja V field recorder as well as the 500 gigabyte cheaper SSD from SanDisk. So with those two kind of factors in mind and kind of that whole balancing act, there were a lot of pros and cons in deciding, which one I should go with and which one I should stick with. And pretty much from here, I'm going to explain my decision making in terms of deciding which one, I thought personally would work better. So hopefully you enjoy this video. We're going to cue the intro and then get started right now. Alright, so if you originally watched my previous video, you saw that I got the Feelworld F6 Plus field monitor along with a CFast Express card from Angelbird, which is 512 gigabytes. So my reasoning originally for getting that CFast Express card and pairing it with a field monitor was so that I could do everything internally on the Canon R5. Now that's an important factor because not everyone has the Canon R5. I just so happened to have it, and this was, part of the whole decision-making process involved with it. So internally, the Canon R5 can, go all the way up to 12, bit color. It can go up to 8K, all these really insane specs, and it does it, all internally, which is, a big kind of wow factor in terms of deciding to get this camera specifically. But then in regards to that too, there's also the cost factor involved in regards to getting, the most out of this camera. And essentially that involves investing money on a really fast and really good CFast card for this camera. So the one that I chose, which was, a pretty well-known one, was Angelbird 512 gigabytes, fast, write speed on it, so it'd perfectly match up with the Canon R5. Along with that, I had some money left over, so I thought, hey, why not get a field monitor too? So then I could actually see, my screen a lot bigger when I'm actually recording video. So, it seems like it would all work out fine. That seems like, the perfect kind of setup for me. But I guess in practicality and actually trying it out and testing it out in the field, I ran into some issues. So if you remember kind of on Saturday when I was shooting, that engagement shoot / wedding shoot, my monitor, ended up stopped working midway through the shoot. I had no clue as to why. It gave me really no warning from Feelworld's F6 field monitor. I did notice, there was a little bit of a low battery, maybe like 10 minutes before it, but it didn't really say, low battery, we're gonna power this thing off. Essentially what happened was the little kind of light at the bottom of the monitor just stayed on as if, it was in like some sort of standby mode. So I kept thinking, the whole time that this thing was broken, kept trying, to turn on the power, turning it off. So I didn't, realize that it was more of a battery issue than it was, an actual monitor issue. So that kind of sucked, and it kind of ruined, that kind of shoot and the easiness of it that I wanted to improve my workflow with that device. Along with that, the CFast Express card from Angelbird did have, you know, a slow boot time in terms of, you know, when you turn on your camera and when the actual memory card is ready to shoot for you. And I read, you know, comments about this. I didn't think, you know, it was going to be that big of an issue, but it wasn't until that I actually, you know, got ready and was actually using it and testing it out in the field, that's when it started, you know, to feel and kind of become a burden on me. So yeah, it's no real surprise that I actually ended up sending it back yesterday, and that's where we're at today with the Atomos Ninja V. Now, this isn't a full review on the Ninja V. I like to do, you know, reviews after I've actually tested it out in the field and actually, you know, used it in my, you know, everyday workflow. I will say it is kind of more of a review, I guess, as to why I wanted to return the Feelworld F6 Plus. It just didn't work well, like right out of the box, and right away I kind of knew this wasn't gonna work. So as I go back to talking about, you know, that balancing act of, you know, performance to, you know, kind of budget restraints that you have, this is where this came in. On the other side of the spectrum, this was, you know, something else that I could afford with, you know, these two different components, just like how I had two different components before with the Feelworld F6 Plus, as well as the Angelbird 512 gigabyte CFast card. So with that in mind, instead of having, you know, a cheap monitor, we're going on the other side of the spectrum and getting, you know, a more expensive monitor. This one, brand new, is around $600, $599 before tax. And then this, you know, 500 gigabyte SSD card is a lot cheaper than that CFast Express card at around, like, you know, $100 for 500 gigabytes, maybe less, maybe 80 for this. Brand new compared to the almost $500 brand new CF Express card, CFast card. I can never remember what it's called. But so it's like a comparable difference. We're just going on the other side of the spectrum. Cheap monitor to expensive monitor, expensive memory card to cheaper memory card. So with that in mind, I think, you know, so far the performance has been, you know, a lot better and a lot more manageable. Just from, you know, some minor tests, it's been, you know, a really cool kind of an upgrade. Having, you know, this monitor has been fantastic. I see and have, you know, the same features as the Feelworld F6 Plus, but I also get a ton of additional new ones, like being able to record in a certain file / codec that allows me to edit my videos a lot faster in 4K. Not only that, there is, you know, more kind of cool physical aspects of this, like this screen can get really, really bright and works, you know, well in daylight, whereas, you know, the other monitor didn't really. But then there also are some, you know, downfalls and kind of things that hold you back in regards to, you know, trade-offs between the two options that we had before. Essentially, this memory card, you know, this SSD will be, I think, a little too slow for recording in 8K. So, I mean, it all depends on if you're going to be shooting in 8K. I'm not really very much. On a rare occasion I will. But also this recorder, this field recorder from Atomos, can only go up to 4K 60 versus, you know, what the camera can do internally at 4K, you know, 120, 8K, 30 frames per second. So there are some trade-offs as to, you know, what you can achieve with it as well. But it all comes down to personal preference. Like I said, you know, this was, you know, something I guess that works a little bit better for me. May work differently for you, but if you want to see, you know, more kind of how this affects my workflow and just kind of speeds up the things that I want to do, as well as, you know, cool projects that I do with this, make sure to like this video and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future adventures, tips and tutorials, you know, and other cool videos like this. And then comment down below if you have any questions about either. I'll try and answer them as I test, you know, this more, as well as, you know, look back at past experiences with the Feelworld F6 Plus. And again, this is just, a mini review, not a full review. I'm waiting to test this thing out a lot more. I just know I'm not really going to be using that Feelworld F6 with that, CF Express card, CFast card kind of pairing. So thank you guys for watching today. Hopefully this helped you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. This is a long video. This is really late at night. I do really want to test this thing out though. This thing looks so much more solid than the Feelworld F6. I guess that's the difference when this is, like $400 more than the other. Got a good deal on this one too, so get rid of it. So, see you guys next time. Bye.